Imagine this. Operational and IT teams have been working on an EHR upgrade for months. The build is finally complete, everything looks good, testing passed successfully, and all the implementation planning is organized. Everyone's excited that this weekend is go live. But within hours of handing the system over to end users, the help desk is inundated with phone calls. Clinicians are frustrated and productivity has plummeted. So what happened? It's usually not the technology itself that is the problem. It's how we prepared our end users for change. And usually it's because three critical elements weren't integrated correctly. That's super users, user acceptance testing, and training. Before we get into the details, I'm Dre, an independent health IT consultant and the founder of the Dragon Network. If you're new here, welcome to my channel, and if you're returning, then welcome back. Now, let's take a closer look at how these three things can work together effectively. If you're not familiar with the term super users, they're frontline staff who receive extra IT training so that they can serve as change champions during IT initiatives. They also will help break down those barriers of change resistance and provide support to their colleagues, often at the elbow, during critical times when workflows are being adjusted. Essentially, they bridge the gap between end users and IT. They understand the workflows because they work on the floor on a regular basis, and they know a little bit more about IT and the functionality that each of the applications has because they have some more of that in-depth training. In order to give your change the best chance of success, it's important to bring super users on early and keep them engaged throughout the initiative. That means having them participate in design sessions, reviewing final workflows when it's time for validation, having them review your test scripts, participate in UAT, and take a look at some of the training materials that are being created. Super users can be really helpful throughout this entire process because they can often spot workflow challenges or things that might be a little more difficult for end users that IT teams might miss. And if they understand exactly what's happening, why it's happening, and when it's happening, it'll also help them to become good champions to their colleagues who are resistant to change. While it's great to think everyone's going to love every IT initiative we put out there, chances are pretty high someone's going to be opposed to it. And having the super users involved from the very beginning arms them with more information so that they can help explain and try to bring those people along to make their lives easier. When we get to user acceptance testing, we want to think of it more as a workflow validation than we do as a functional testing effort. Of course, you're going to test the functionality within the system. That's a given. However, if you're looking at it from the lens of a scenario-based workflow, you can also spot anything that might be a trouble spot or burdensome for clinicians that may not have come up when you were doing your design or thinking of things sort of in pieces and parcels. Having the super users participate in UAT from the very beginning, helping with the scripting and helping with those scenarios, lets you make those more realistic, and then when you get into the room to actually engage in UAT with different end users and your super users, you get a lot more value out of it. Having them engaged in UAT is also going to make sure that you have an opportunity to test real-life scenarios and not just the happy path. Super users can interact with others in the room to bring up questions and ask about things that may not be documented specifically in the scenario. Think of UAT as a safety net. It's meant to catch as many things as you possibly can catch before you go live, so nothing is a surprise when all of the end users start using it on day one. It also gives the super users and others participating more confidence in what's going in so that they can support their colleagues. Last, but certainly not least, we get to the third component, which is training. This is of course done so end users know how they're supposed to perform tasks after the change goes into effect. But what it also should be doing is communicating why things have changed. So how come the way they're doing it now is different than the way they did it before? If you have super users engaged throughout, you have a better opportunity to spend time to make these role-based scenarios and to have actual discussions in context that you can include in the training material. You also can leverage the findings from the user acceptance testing to pick out any of those nuanced things that may have come up, the questions, the comments, the little tiny adjustments in workflow that you may not have thought about if you had just relied on using IT teams alone. Remember, training is the foundation for successful adoption. So the more that you can incorporate to address anything that may come up in those first few days or weeks is going to be helpful for your end users. It's also going to let them know that IT is really trying to partner with them on everything that they're doing, and that it isn't just throwing changes at the wall and having them have to react to them. So we really need to treat these three as a connected system as opposed to three separate parts of a project. We need to engage the super users early so they can participate in design and discuss workflow changes throughout. We need to leverage them for user acceptance testing so that things can be a little more realistic. And once user acceptance testing is completed, we need to leverage the knowledge that the super users have and that IT gained to incorporate that into training materials so that we can better inform our end users when we go live. Super users, of course, should remain engaged after go live so they can support their colleagues using all of the information that they gain throughout the project. Keeping an eye on this cycle and making sure that they're heavily integrated will also help us create institutional knowledge that we can leverage for future projects. Think back to the last time your organization introduced new IT functionality or some workflow changes. Did the super users feel prepared? Did UAT surface real issues? And did training give people confidence? Coordinating this trio isn't just for large implementations. We can actually make sure that we're looking to have these three pieces fit together anytime we change workflows. If your last go live didn't go quite as well as you had hoped, take a look at these three things and see if there's opportunity to have them be more coordinated. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you the next time.